Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about a journey into the underworld and what that is. Welcome, my name is Celine. For those of you that are new here, I help empaths on their healing journey and with spiritual guidance to come into alignment with their purpose. So, as I say in today's video, we're going to talk about a journey into the underworld and what does that mean? So, basically, what we're talking about here is shadow work. Now, some people seem to get the idea that shadow work, or going into the underworld, as it's also known, is kind of on the dark side of things, like it's somewhere we don't want to be, we just want to be in the light and things like that. But this isn't true at all. That's not what it is. So, the shadow work is about going inside and moving through those kind of traumas that we've been through, any toxic traits we might have that kind of need bringing into balance and integrated into that kind of shadow and light side, because we have both within. We have a light and a shadow, and it's about bringing that into balance. And we do that by going within, taking that journey into the underworld, and moving through those traumas so we can finally release them and bring ourselves into wholeness and oneness and in alignment with spirit, source, God, whatever you want to call it. So it's not bad at all. It's not scary as it sounds. Um, you can get help with this off anybody. I'm a shadow worker, so I help people navigate that kind of journey that we have to go through, really. It is a hard journey to go through. It's not for the faint-hearted, but it's about being aware that we're going through this for a reason, that at the end of it, we are going to heal. We don't have to feel those traumas anymore. We don't have to keep replaying out those toxic kind of situations that keep replaying in our lives. We don't have to keep attracting toxic people into our lives. Um, and it's about really getting to know who we are at that core self. If we hadn't have gone through the traumas we've gone through. So it's kind of getting back to that space really where it's kind of like you haven't been through those traumas, if that makes sense. It's getting you back on the path that you would have been on had you have not gone through that. But saying that again, especially if you're here with a purpose and to help others as a light worker or a shadow worker, we kind of go through these journeys as kind of experience really to bring us to this point that you're probably going to be moving into if you're on that journey, and if you're watching this video you more than likely are. So that's a good way of looking at it, and it kind of takes all that pressure off and kind of the fear, because that's what we want to do. We want to lose that fear and transmute that into love ultimately for ourselves. We want to stop attracting those toxic partners. And we can do that by changing our belief systems. So that's something I work on with my clients. I use what's known as the BETDAR system, which a lot of coaches do. And that's about changing our core beliefs. And by changing our core beliefs and taking different actions from that place, we're then going to kind of change the trajectory of the path that we're on. Um, so, it's really important to try and bear these things in mind when you're going through it, because as I say, it is a hard process. Our brain doesn't know the difference of what's real in the moment and what isn't. And when we're kind of going through these traumas that we've been through in the past, it feels as though we are reliving it. And it can play out in some aspects, not usually as severe as what we went through as a child, but you will see similarities in what's playing out. So, again, that's important to understand that this will pass. It's just that energy releasing from us. And so we can finally let that go. So, it is a process. It can take a while. I do suggest if you can get help that you do get help from someone like myself or anyone else that you trust, especially if you find it extremely difficult. So with my past, I came from SRA, trafficking, and mind control, and I didn't get out of that until 2019 when I finally remembered. and I managed to break free from the cult. So if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that story. If you haven't and you want to know more, I do have some interviews up on my Facebook channel and also on my Facebook page and also Rumble. So I'll drop the links below if you're watching on YouTube. Um, but yeah, that was kind of what I went through. So it took me kind of 6 years to navigate through that journey of what's known as the underworld. And I had to relive everything that happened in my mind, obviously, and kind of move through that. And I always kept hold of the fact that what was happening wasn't real. It wasn't affecting me now. I had to keep reminding myself of that I would move through these phases as I healed each kind of aspect or trauma that I went through. And it brought me to a place where I'm now able to help others navigate that journey also. So, it doesn't matter so much of what you've been through, but the experiences that you had and what need healing, the traumas that have happened as a consequence of that. So you might have low self-worth, which is another indicator of why we keep attracting these toxic people. Um, you probably won't love yourself because, if you've been through with narcissistic parents or more severe abuse, we're taught not to love ourselves. We're taught that our emotions don't matter. And these are all things that journeying through that underworld will help us kind of re-establish back in ourselves because that's really not true. Our emotions do matter. What we want does matter. We are allowed to speak out to people, whether it's in a relationship or whatever it may be. And our needs and wants do matter. And if that person can't understand that or doesn't want to understand that, that's a sign for you then that you need to start working on moving away from that person, whoever it is, whether it's friend, family, partner, whatever it may be. They're not they're not in your alignment, they're not in your highest good. And the way you know that is when you're in alignment with something, it will make you feel happy. Um, it'll make you feel at peace and all those kind of emotions. When you're feeling in a space of sadness, feeling misunderstood, um, and any of those sorts of more, I don't want to say negative emotions, kind of those lower aspect emotions, you'll, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Um, that's when you know that you're out of alignment. So that's one way of navigating things as well, is knowing when you're in alignment because you'll feel happy about it. And if this person is making you feel unhappy and disturbing your inner peace and things, that's out of alignment with who you are and what you want. And you are allowed what you want. You are allowed to be in alignment. You are allowed to attract those people that make you feel like that reciprocate that energy, and you don't have to stay in those toxic, demeaning relationships. And you'll learn that as you go along with your inner world journey. And you will become more and more empowered the more you work through those traumas. So it tends to happen in layers like an onion. And you might revisit some things a few times. You might think you've dealt with it and being able to, let that emotional charge go to the trauma only for it to come back round. Well, when that happens, there's normally another aspect to that trauma that we need to work through, and you'll know that in the moment as it comes up. So, don't think that it's a never ending cycle and you're not getting out of it. Normally that is the case, that there's just different aspects and elements to each trauma that we have to work through. So, I think I will leave it there for this video. I will do more on this topic as we move forward because I think it is an important one to understand. I'm also doing more shorts now. Reluctantly got on the bandwagon there with shorts. So I will get more of them out as well, and we'll kind of move through this shadow aspect and also connecting with our inner child. So if you would like help with this, please do reach out and get in touch with me. I would be more than happy to help you with this. Um, So yeah, I will leave it there for this video. I hope everyone is well and enjoy your day.